down in town. The only Heartless left anywhere are the local variety. And it looks like there are fewer than before.
Now if we can just get those 3 back in one piece. You're here!
Welcome back!
How's the town?
A-okay.
Not a single trace of the MCP either. Everything's back to normal. We made it.
Hey, why the long face? What happened?
Trog just disappeared.
And he promised we'd see him again.
What's happening?
Greetings, friends. System is up and ready for user input.
Tron!
Stay in touch.
Yeah!
A boy, oh boy!
Hey, stop that. It tickles.
Tron is ticklish?
How about this?
Please stop that.
I think Tron's been hanging around those guys too much.
Wait, just a moment. I want to show you something I dug up from the system archives. You can see the town back when it was first built.
That's right. I remember now.
Just like the old days. I'd be fascinated to ascertain as to when the town got such a dreadful name as Hollow Bastion.
You know, this town had another name once.
And now we can finally see Hollow Bastion as it was meant to be. Its original name. Radiant Garden. Ah, the beginning of a new age. Greetings, I am Solidus-Skully, and welcome back to Kingdom Hearts 2. You probably wouldn't have noticed in terms of parts being uploaded and recorded, but in terms of recording, I got sick for a little bit. Which sucked, because I was pretty much out for 2 weeks, and yeah, couldn't really record anything, and parts are getting dangerously low. So now I pretty much gotta record, and lucky for me, I've got a bunch of filler parts coming up ahead, because we're doing a bit of the side content today. I'd say for about the next 2 or 3 videos from this point on, so yeah, it's not gonna be too long, and we are gonna be getting back to story content when we finally tackle Atlantica, but in the meantime, let's go back to the Coliseum. Well, okay, the Coliseum is technically still in ruins, because it won't be repaired until... Actually, no, we don't ever go back to the Coliseum in Kingdom Hearts 3 either, and every game after this is a prequel-ish sort of thing, so... yes. Yeah, we're pretty much going down into the Underdrome, just bouncing about here, just talking to people. And, yeah, you can do the training again, gets you fuck all or nothing, as I mentioned beforehand, and it's pretty much just journal completion. Because, hey, let's unlock the secret ending by doing things we did before, but more. Because that's lovely in terms of having such stingy requirements for your secret ending. But anyway, everything seems to be pretty kosher here despite all the destruction, so... yeah, let's stop beating around the bush and, let's show off a few things since we are doing the side content. I think now might be a good opportunity to show off a few alternate keyblades. In this case... the Hero's Crest. Not bad for an early game Keyblade, although... I mean, I will say this, I do kind of prefer Hero's Crest better than Olympia, but... It's neither here nor there in this case, but yes, here we go to the Underdrome. Now again, you did have to do that one mandatory Underdrome tournament, you know, for the sake of the plot in the Hercules world, but this is pretty much just for optional stuff. Again, you get 3 trophies, and you are rewarded with several, you know, goodies and, you know, whatever else for completing these. I believe in this case you get the Genji Shield for Goofy, Serenity Crystal, and one other thing I forgot for the 3 rounds, but again, as I mentioned beforehand, there are certain caveats towards competing in the Pain and Panic Cups. In this case, it's... Well, again, I think for the first one, it's pretty much no summons or drive gauge. I think it's like vice versa, so like you don't get summons in the second round. And then I believe in the third cup, you get to go all out, but it's Sora alone or something. Whatever, you're pretty much going to be seeing, and it's a good thing I'm doing it at this point, because, well... Again, you might remember way earlier on, like I think after the first visit to Olympus, yeah, you can pretty much tackle the cups that are in there, and similar to Kingdom Hearts 1, I guess they want you to tackle these tournament rounds, you know, as you progress throughout the game, you know, and whenever you hear bits and pieces of Kingdom Hearts going, a new episode was added to X World. But yeah, we're pretty much tackling it all now, because Sora is nice and juicy powerful, and as such, these rounds should go a hell of a lot quicker than, you know, what we encountered in Kingdom Hearts 1, where we... Well, pretty much had to do 50 rounds rapid, as I believe I titled the part beforehand, so, yeah, they've simultaneously streamlined the Coliseum content, but at the same time, they also made it a little bit less, viable, because, again, I believe, unlike Kingdom Hearts 1, you can't grind in these areas, you're not getting experience for killing the Heartless. So again, it eliminates one passive incentive for doing these rounds if you know, plan to have a significant grinding spot here. But I mean, in turn, it's, and again, I remember talking about this with AHAT96 in the comments on the second visit to the Coliseum, is that, again, in the effort to, I guess maybe in the effort to try and, like, have additional game modes, I was sort of wondering about what they could have done to maybe improve the standing of the Underdrome for a lot of people, because, I mean, again, a lot of people usually judge the Olympus visit in Kingdom Hearts 2 as just the Coliseum stuff, which I feel is a bit of a misnomer, because, I mean, you can apply that to, you know, 3 for 8 over 2 days and Birth by Sleep, and that's... No, it wasn't even in Dreamlords. Oh no, wait, Coded, that's what I was thinking of. But yeah, I was thinking that maybe to improve, like, some of the Coliseum stuff, or at least give it a little bit more oomph. Well, maybe to kind of go a similar route to, like, Annihilation Nation from Ratchet & Clank 3. So, like, I mean, again, you have sections where, you know, you have a little bit of platforming and, you know, a little bit of physical challenges, but then you also have arena combat stuff, and, you know, maybe some additional boss fights, which, again, this game does provide as you get towards the end of at the end of each wave, similar to Kingdom Hearts 1. And, our first bosses will be quite familiar territory, but, I don't know, I'm thinking maybe some more, I don't know, unique Final Fantasy characters, or, I don't know, hidden surprises that you might, you know, see pop up every now and again, like, I don't know. You get to the end of the round, you're expecting to fight, you know, Squall and Yuffie or whatever, but oh, what is this? Oh, my goodness, it is Garland from the Final Fantasy. What a surprise. So let's have a battle or whatever. Which is, I suppose, is kind of weird, because, I mean, Kingdom Hearts 1 did have those surprise encounters as well, in terms of, like, you know, some of the Platinum rounds or whatever, you know, when you fought Sephiroth and, you know, the Ice Titan, but... Yeah, I'm not going to say that Kingdom Hearts 2 doesn't have its surprises here and there, but at the same time, though, I guess maybe the lack of, you know, hidden boss fights or, you know, some of the arena challenges that give a few surprise encounters here and there, I don't know, probably does make it feel a bit more dull and robust than in fact it should. Anyway, here's our final battle of round 1, where we fight against Squall and Yuffie, because they had the attack animations, and by god, they're going to put them to use. I don't think too much has really changed in the Kingdom Hearts 1 adaptation, though. I think they have very similar attacks. Like, I think Squall will eventually use Blasting Zone when he will eventually whittle down his health. Yuffie, I can't remember if she has the same sort of healing ability that she had in Kingdom Hearts 1, where she could heal Squall after a time, but yeah. Basically, Yuffie is pretty much the one element that you want to keep focus on. Or at least, you should if you're not quite as powerful in the late game as, you know, you are right now. But yeah, like, I mean, apart from teleporting everywhere, Yuffie is, well, Yuffie isn't really too much to worry about. Well, I mean, except for when she waves her shuriken around in a sort of no retaliation attack. There we go, that's the ticker. And now we claim our prize. Whoopee. Oh yeah, and I tried to show this off in the Nightmare Before Nightmare Before Elm Street. What the fuck? No, I've tried to show this before in the Nightmare Before Christmas world, but yeah, you're going to be seeing the dry forms in cutscenes now because I show off Wisdom Form, and you get to see it in the cutscene very briefly. Ah, continuity. But let's change tactics. We're going to be using the Gullwing. Can't remember if I show off all the Keyblades in the game with the footage that I've got, but I'm pretty sure I do show off at least most of them, so... Yeah, you will get to see these Keyblades in action throughout some of the bonus videos, but... Yeah, I think some might be less viable than others. There we go, now we have the Gullwing's Keyblade, which, again, as I mentioned beforehand, does have the passive ability of, again, gaining additional experience when your health is halved, but... yeah, you don't gain experience at all during the Coliseum bouts, so, yeah, kind of a bit pointless, but, I mean, I do kind of like the design of the Keyblade itself. I mean, it is very, sort of fantastical in that Final Fantasy X-2 sort of way, so, not bad. Anyway, the next cup is the Cerberus Cup, and we fight Cerberus again, because why not? I mean, I'm sure I said it before in Kingdom Hearts 1, and I'll say it again, I do wish these rounds were kind of utilized for... Again, like, I mean, I suppose if not for having, like, a few surprise enemy encounters here and there, at least letting us fight a few Final Fantasy bosses. Or at least finding a way to utilize them in a way which, you know, you can have some pre-boss fight banter and, you know, enjoy them. Like, I mean, even including something kind of as tertiary as Setzer during the, you know, struggle tournament, I think would be fun enough. I mean, again, I know Nomura has that whole thing about... you know, respecting Yoshitaka Amano's artwork and not using Final Fantasy characters he himself didn't design, but... I don't know, you could still apply that to, like, some, you know, Final Fantasy 11 or 12 characters. I don't know, I mean, 13 was making the rounds at this time, so... maybe you could have had a few early bird cameos of them? I don't know. And now we reach the middle part, where I'm gonna have to make up shit to talk about, so, again, I do apologize if these parts get a little bit loosey-goosey, but I am kind of running on very basic information again. Particularly for the Coliseum rounds, it should get a little bit less... well, I should struggle a little bit less when it comes to talking about the Mushroom 13 and Organization Absent Silhouette battles that we'll be seeing in the next couple of parts, because, again, they are quite different, and it'll give me a little bit more things to talk about. No, but this, on the other hand, is really just sort of combat for the sake of itself, so, it's a good thing. I got me some trivia that helps me out. Oh yeah, Sora is skilled with the blocking and the dodging and the lady. Glaven. And, I suppose to talk about trivia for a little bit, actually, and, I'm not necessarily sure whether these areas were intended for, you know, to be accessed in the game itself or cut out, but, yeah, you can actually find Castle Oblivion, you know, the place from Chain of Memories, in the same world as Hollow Bastion. I mean, again, you can't access it, but the cutscene data, I believe, and in turn, I think also the, like, actual coding and level data, is actually in Kingdom Hearts 2, where, again, Sora and Donald and Goofy can run around in there, if you have access to it. So again, it is like a fully fledged map of the initial area where, you know, you first saw it. Again, it's used primarily for the cutscene where, you know, you saw it in Chain of Memories, you know, before you enter into the room itself, but... yeah, as you're seeing right here, yeah, there's coding on the area, Sora can run around, and, again, while it is meant to be, you know, a brief basis for the cutscene where, you know, Sora enters inside as he was beckoned by Marluxia, I don't know, it does make me wonder, because, I mean, again, a few games actually did have, you know, cutscene areas that, you know, weren't intended for gameplay, but were there for, you know, filming cutscenes within game models. Jedi Outcast actually comes to mind where... again, there's one specific scene set in Coruscant, and again, if you use the no-clip ability from the command menu, you can actually access that area and run around the brief Senate room where you can see the background of Coruscant or whatever. So again, and again, like, I wouldn't really be contesting whether or not these are meant to be areas you could access, but again, like, I mean, if you go to these specific areas, as you're seeing right here, you do actually have title cards show up going, you know, Hollow Bastion, Castle Oblivion, or Twilight Town, Roxas's room, so... it does make me wonder, were these areas intended to be accessed by the player at one point, or was it just purely for cutscenes and they just had, mapping data required for it. I don't know, like, I mean, Castle Oblivion, I can see why they probably wouldn't add, you know, it's just purely a cutscene thing, but Roxas's room, for example, I don't know, like, maybe you intended to go in there, examine some stuff about his life? I don't know, it's quite curious to me, and then again, though, I suppose it was probably just intended to be, I don't know, a list of selections, because again, I was also looking at more cut content for Kingdom Hearts 2, and I recall seeing actually a little pastebin document of, I think, a bunch of worlds that, well, not necessarily a bunch of worlds in and of itself, but basically the list of, you know, programmable locations and, you know, places for both the cutscene and in terms of gameplay, and again, upon having a few other, you know, stuff for worlds like, you know, Monsters Inc., Toy Story, and indeed Fantasia, which was cut from the game. Again, you also have areas like, you know, Roxas' room, Capsule Room, or whatever else, that, again, were part of the document, but not seen in regular gameplay, so... Again, I am wearing my skeptical pants right now, wondering whether or not there was more to be followed. I mean, again, obviously some of these worlds were just suggestions, and I suppose pitches to Disney to see what sort of worlds they could put in the game, and others that they weren't allowed to use. Like, I mean, again, the obvious examples being Monsters Inc. and Toy Story, because I don't think Pixar were owned by Disney at this point. Or, I mean, if they were, it would have been, like, very early talks, and I suppose Nomura probably wouldn't have had permission at this point. But yeah, it's, kind of bizarre, actually. I mean, Monsters Inc. would eventually, you know, come into a world of its own in Kingdom Hearts 3, as would Toy Story, so, yeah. Actually, I suppose also talking about, cut content and worlds, at least potential worlds for Kingdom Hearts 2, I believe Lilo and Stitch was also intended to be one. Because, I mean, not only does Stitch's summon sort of come out of buttfuck nowhere, but there are also some in-game, not necessarily in-game assets, but like an untextured model of Stitch's ship. Which does kind of make me wonder, because again, the Lilo and Stitch world does come into Birth by Sleep as like a very early, like... Well, like very early on in the movie, like during Deep Space, so... Yeah, I'm just kind of wondering if that might have been intended for Kingdom Hearts 2, or if maybe, they're intending Hawaii itself to be the world. I mean, again, like, you do see a brief render of the place right here, so... Maybe? I don't know why it might have been cut out, because, I mean, unlike Pixar, where they... where the rights would have probably been a little bit more hidden behind, you know, intellectual property and rhetoric or whatever. Disney did own Lilo and Stitch at this point, so citation needed? Or I guess maybe since they had Destiny Islands, they thought it would have been redundant, but you don't even get to play Destiny Islands, so really, what the fuck? I don't know, I suppose maybe they probably had trouble thinking up of gameplay that they could have feasibly put in Lilo and Stitch, since a lot of the Hawaii scenes, at least towards the end of the movie anyway, were, I don't know, relatively, character building? Well, I mean, even in that case, like, I mean, Kingdom Hearts, it's not as if Kingdom Hearts is averse to, you know, having the whole the topic of, oh no, Heartless are invading, run away Disney characters while we fight them off and add gameplay where, you know, that wouldn't really be in the movie. Birth by Sleep is a particular offender of that, and you're going to be seeing that quite soon. No, actually, it kind of reminds me, actually, I should probably get around to recording Birth by Sleep. But that won't be for a while, because I don't like Birth by Sleep, but I have to record it anyway. For great justice. There we go. Ixamaru indeed, Genie. There we go. That's a little bit, I don't know how to feel about that. But yeah, like, I mean, it does make Genie one of the more useful summons to use in the gameplay. Like, I mean, yeah, just look at this guy. I don't know, I suppose the mock dry forms really did add a lot of dimension to his summon abilities, because again, not only are they powerful, but again, they also had like a lot of unique attacks that you can switch to and fro, and I don't know, it's quite fun. Again, like, I mean, I really got a lot of usage out of the summons. I mean, the only one that I think kind of shits the bed a little bit, and even then, that's just a case of him being an early game summon, is Chicken Little, really. And I mean, I suppose even in that case, like, I mean, Chicken Little, when you do have him out as a summon, like, I mean, again, you're kind of invulnerable while you have him out there, so... Again, like, I mean, there is a passive benefit to even having some of the pish summons, so... yeah, nothing really to worry about, to be honest. Actually, you know what? I'm starting to see why they probably didn't have any sort of, like, item drops or experience drops for any of the Heartless or Nobodies that you fight during these rounds, and that would probably be because, well, again, you probably could have gotten the synthesis materials a bit earlier than you otherwise would have. And even in that case, I'm not seeing why that would have been a bad thing, because, well, again, given how Kingdom Hearts 2 streamlines the synthesis stuff, really, what's even the problem? Anyway, this is Hercules. Much easier to take out since you don't have to worry about the barrel gimmick, so it's pretty much just a full-on let's wail on the dude kind of thing. Or at least waiting until his golden glow dissipates, so... yeah, I guess we've grown stronger than our need for the barrel. There we go. Oh, total ownage. But anyway, after dealing with that pish, I hope you look forward to the next part, which would hopefully be a bit more exciting. So on that note, I'm Solidus-Skully. Keep it new metal, and I'll catch you dudes and dudettes next time for more Kingdom Hearts action. Bye-bye.